What's up? I'm trying something new now. Welcome back, YouTube. Thank you for watching. And I'm now here to talk about what everybody's been asking me, what everybody wants to hear. How was Nigeria? So, this is a long winded answer. So, I'll try to break it into like pieces. So, overall, my impression of Nigeria, whenever someone asks me, I say it's different. Like, there's really no way to describe how it is without actually being there. So how I usually compare it is like think of a big city, like say for example like New York or San Francisco, like somewhere near the water, and put it back in like the 50s, 40s, like sometime back there where there's not as much infrastructure as there is now in the US. So that's kind of just how like aesthetically how it looks specifically for Legos. But every now and then you'll see like a super nice building. You might see like a nice car, like I saw like a Bentley out there, I seen a Rolls out there. But in general, you're seeing a lot of Honda Civics out there. And what I noticed was a lot of the cars are just older in general. So like a lot of the cars that break down, selling for parts, they'll ship them overseas to Nigeria, and then the mechanics and everything rebuild them. So like a lot of the cars are running, but they're older. One thing I thought was funny was every car that I got in, even like the driver's car that we had, they all had the engine light on. So I don't know if that's a technology error or if all the cars really had something wrong with them, but I just thought that was funny. On the actual driving, like maneuvering through the city, the driving is the craziest that I've ever seen. And everybody told me like it's wild, you're gonna be amazed, like you're gonna be in awe. And it is pretty bad. The one good thing, well it's not a good thing, but they have a lot of traffic, so it's like even though people are driving crazy, you're not going super fast when all this craziness is going on. So there's not a lot of accidents from what I've seen and what other people have told me as well. And that's funny too because they don't have car insurance out there. It's kind of like, every man for himself. Get it how you can. It's really like hectic. So for one, how in the U.S. there might be a 2-lane, 3-lane, 4-lane highway maybe. They'll have the lanes, but nobody really follows the lanes or stays exactly in the lane. So it's like if there's one car right here and one car a little bit behind in a 2-lane road and you're trying to get by them, people just go finesse in between. They'll drive in between them, so it could be 3 cars in that right across in that 2-car lane. Like they might be the best drivers in the world, Nigerians, because they can maneuver through anything without even coming to a complete stop, just finessing their way in and out. And then the other thing is like they honk their horn so much. You cannot go anywhere without hearing the horn honked at least 100 times. And it's funny because the honk can mean different things. It could be like thank you. It could be move over. It could be like you just did something dumb. It could be like I'm trying to get by. It could be used to like get somebody's attention that's walking on the street. Like it has so many meanings, and then people just honk it all the freaking time. For example, if we were driving in the US and someone, honked to get over, you might hit it once, you might hit it twice, get over, move over, like you in the way. Nah, they honk it 2 times, pause for half a second, 3 times, 4 times, just keep honking, and then once you honk, somebody else is honking, so it's just honk, 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 honk. So that's just on the driving tip. One thing that I thought was actually interesting too, especially when I first arrived, was everybody pretty much worked for themselves unless they work for a big company. And the reason I bring this up was just because like one of the first things I noticed was, how you might see somebody selling a water at the stoplight, selling Gatorade, maybe donuts or something. But in Nigeria, they literally will sell anything in the street. So literally right when I'm getting off the airport, I'm on my way to the Airbnb. The driver, he's like, he wants some snacks. So as he's driving, he's probably going 20, 30 miles per hour. And he like sticks his hands out the car, honks the horn. A dude comes running with a big basket, and he has like, like peanuts, like some other type of snacks. And so they're literally trying to figure out like what price they want to buy the snacks for while he's driving. He slowed down, of course, but he's still not going super slow, like maybe like 15 miles per hour. So it's like a teenager. He's running next to the car, asking, like trying to make this sale while he's running next to the car, still holding stuff. And I was just in awe, like, wow, this is enormous amount of hustle and grind, and two, like this is normal, you know what I mean? And mind you, they're running in between cars. So you know how I said there was lots of crazy driving. People are carrying baskets, running in between cars just to make a sale for what's the equivalent of $1 or $2, which is crazy hectic. The funny thing is, like, when I said snacks, they'll sell waters. I seen people selling masks. I seen people selling car chargers, other chargers like shoes. Like, they will literally sell anything in the middle of the street. Now, I don't know how many people will buy the random stuff like chargers or masks or toys in the middle of the street, but hey, if it helps you conveniently get it while you're on your way home or something, do you. As far as everybody being like an entrepreneur, literally everywhere you went, people will have their own market stand. One, no price is set in stone. Like, you can literally try to haggle and hassle for whatever price you want. I mean, obviously, some prices would be too low, but it's a big range in terms of haggling. And so, especially when they see you being an outsider, I heard some of my friends say, even like when their family goes back, my Nigerian friends, they say even when their family goes back, they still try to work them because they know, they've been living in America. They can just spot that they haven't been living in Nigeria anymore. So they still try to work them. They figure we're all rich, which isn't the case, but we're fairly well off compared to what they're in, what they've been dealing with. So for example, the market rate for their currency, which is Naira, if you do it by the banks over here, it's around like between like 450 and like 480 maybe. And if you do it through the it's kind of like the black market, but their black market rate over there, you kind of got to know somebody to be able to get the cash. But the black market rate is about 560, and this is how much Naira per $1. In general, I noticed most things are cash based. So they have 100 and 200 Naira, but the smallest bill that you see around is usually a 500 Naira. So when we were trying to do quick math, this is equal to about $1. A lot of times you had to carry a stack of 500 Naira around. So it's literally like $1. So, I'm walking around with $60, but it looks like I have a lot of money just because it's fat. It's like basically like we're in a strip club for real. But I say that to say, when we think of $1, we think of $1 might get us, Arizona sweet tea. It doesn't really hold that much value. Maybe $2 for real will only get you a Gatorade or something. Meanwhile, if you're on the if you're like walking one of the streets in Lagos and you find a food stand, you could get a good amount of suya, which is a certain style beef that's really popular. Well, it's more of the seasoning, and then you put it on chicken, mostly beef and chicken. But you can get a decent amount of meat for only $2 or $3. Meanwhile, if it was back here, it's at least 7, 8, and that's on the low end. So I understand why they hustle a little bit harder for every dollar. And I'm really inspired by their entrepreneurial efforts in general. Like, just driving, I'll see written on stone walls, like outside a building, it'll be like, plumber, call this number, math tutor, call this. And it's just funny to see, you really just gotta promote yourself. Every time you talking to somebody, they're trying to hustle you. They could be doing their job. Say you go in the store, one, they help you which is good. You like, you need help with anything. Once you go to ring out, they want a tip, and so it's pretty customary for everyone to ask for tips. Like even the security guard, we go in the club, we're leaving the club, and the security guards are asking for tips. A lot of times you just give them like 500 to 1,000 naira, something small, $1 or $2. To me, how I see it is more of the effort and the gesture. I guess asking everybody for $1 adds up over the course of a day or a week or even a month. I want to know more of the reasoning behind this, but just from what I noticed, that's just customary. At first, I was like, I refused to give anybody tips, but as the days wore on, of course it boosts my ego, but I just want to, see if I can help somebody, put a smile on somebody's face just by giving a little bit of money. Just some other funny things that I noticed that I just wanted to comment on was one, when you're driving, you'll see like goats just chilling on the side of the road. It reminded me of just like how you might see a dog laying, but you'll just see like a big ass goat just chilling, like the family pet. Or you might see a herd of goats just chilling, and that's because they're being raised as food. But until then, they're the family pet. One crazy thing I saw, and this is when I had just came here, so it kind of blew my mind. I'm riding from the airport. I see somebody on a motorcycle, and so motorcycles there are called Okada or Okadas. Um, I still didn't get the correct pronunciation, but they're called Okadas. And so I see somebody on one, and then I see somebody on foot running next to him, like grabbing his helmet, trying to yank him off. And I'm looking like, wow, this is crazy. But it wasn't just the fact that was happening. It was crazy because it looked like there was some intent behind that. It wasn't no planned stuff, and this was in the middle of traffic too. But what blew my mind was nobody like lifted a finger, like barely even looked. Like, there was a couple people just like looking, but they didn't even move. Like they're just like, and then went back to doing what they're doing, and that just amazed me. I'm like, I was like, wow, is this what happens on the regular in Lagos? Like, this is crazy. But when I told somebody later on, they were saying that like it might have been some gang related, and so the best thing is really not to get involved. But it was just wild to me because as soon as I'm in there, it's just wow. I wonder if anybody noticed yet, but I'm rocking my Welcome to Nigeria shirt that my friend got for me for everybody she invited for the trip. So, just wanted to show this off. It's a little small, showing my tatas, you feel me? But still enjoy the gesture. I appreciate the shirt. And I just wanted to say that, especially if you're going to Nigeria, I would hope that you have someone who lives there or someone who goes there frequently as a connection. I can only imagine how hard it probably is to go there without any knowledge of what's going on and without any connections, because one, people will try to just get over on you. Like, they'll try to ask for so much money compared to how much something is really worth. But then two, there's a lot of things that you just might not know how to maneuver or operate unless you live there. And a lot of times you got to know somebody who knows somebody to get something. So if you do go, I hope you have somebody that can help kind of take you around or at least point you in the right direction when you go. Alright, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about what were some things that you should be aware of when you go to Nigeria. And so luckily I watched a couple of YouTube videos, so hopefully this might help somebody too, but to know what to expect with certain things. And so one thing that's super funny, I don't know, it's just funny to me, is just the electricity. But basically, long story short, the power will just cut off at random times throughout the day. So everybody who can afford it will have a generator, but even with the generator, it'll take a second to kick in and run. So, you could be watching Netflix, power just cut off. Now, you gotta wait for it to kick back in, or for the generator to kick back in, the Wi-Fi to load back up, and then you gotta go back to the movie, go to the right time. So like something like that, it's like it's a nuisance. It for some reason always happen when you didn't want it to happen, like when you're watching something, or you needed electricity so you could iron, and then now that's when the power goes off. So I just find that whole thing just funny to me. And it's not just like where people live. Like it happened when we were at a restaurant eating, AC cuts off, the TV's cut off, all the lights cut off. Like stuff like that is just funny. Like imagine you're at a fancy dinner, you're on a date, and the light cuts off. I mean, I guess if you're living there, it's cool, but as a visitor, you'd probably be like, "What is going on?" Like think it's crazy, but that's just normal. So originally I planned to, only use water when I was about to rinse my mouth or something. But somebody else on the trip, they're like, that's just a little bit of water. It's not going to kill you, because they had already brushed their teeth or whatever. So because they did it, and out of laziness, I was like, I'll just do it. And so I don't know if this contributed to it, but I ended up getting like traveler's diarrhea for a good like 3 or 4 days, and I don't know if it's because of the water. That's one of the symptoms. They say it could be from the water, but traveler's diarrhea is common in general with the food, when depending on what kind of food you eat as well. So I'm not sure if it was the food or the water, but I did end up getting traveler's diarrhea. So I recommend bringing like Pepto Bismol. I know there's some stronger antacid medicines and medications that you can get ahead of time, but I I didn't want to go too far into. I honestly didn't even think I was going to get traveler's diarrhea, but I was like, let me just get a little something so I can be good. So long story short, I ended up getting it, and it was every 5 minutes. Oh, gotta run to the toilet. Like it was so bad. One time, I had already been, what I'm saying, going for a few times within an hour, and then I was just sitting on the toilet thinking, I was like, please stop, please stop. And then I don't know if you know that Alicia Keys song, "This Girl Is on Fire," but in my head, that I just kept replaying in my head, "This ass is on fire." Oh man, I'm wild. But yeah, that joint was crazy, and so I do like the vocals on that. But so I would recommend being prepared when it comes to that. It's likely it'll happen. Just try to drink your water. Try to take it slow. Like one of my friend's dads, I didn't even talk to him until like halfway through the trip, but he was saying he recommended like not eating as big portions when you come, so your body can get adjusted to like the food and everything. And he was saying like even common like American foods that you might not think might affect you, like depending on how they're made, or the seasoning and spices might affect your stomach the wrong way. So like kind of just take it slow, drink a lot of fluid, and eat smaller portions was what he recommended. Just some advice, if you're going to bring an iron or a steamer or any, I don't know, like a toaster or something, you might need a step down converter if it's a US appliance not built for that certain type of outlet and power capacity. Um, so I learned that the hard way. I brought a steamer. If you see in my vlog, my first vlog, you'll see I brought a steamer. And when I plugged it in, I thought it was working fine. And then it just started doing something dumb. Like it was just, the water was just spitting out crazy when it was supposed to be steaming. Like I almost burned myself with that hot water. And to this day, the steamer still doesn't work. Like I've tried, like maybe if I wait, it'll work. Still didn't work. So, ooh, one more thing. I almost forgot about this. So, this is a big deal. Like if you plan on drinking, and you got space, I definitely recommend bringing your own liquor. So what I learned halfway through the trip is that the most of the liquor you'll buy is fake. I don't know I don't know how and why it's fake. Like it'll be in the right bottle, or it could be in a fake bottle. But a lot of times it'll be in the appropriate bottle, but something about it is just off. So, for example, even we were going to clubs and we were getting sections just because we had a large party. Like it's easier to just get a section, get a couple bottles with the section, so that way we're not paying for one drink, two drink here and there. And when we did that, the the funny thing is they let you take the bottles back with you since you paid for it. And so we didn't notice, but basically we weren't getting drunk. And we're like, how come we aren't getting drunk? Like even we pregame with the bottles we had brought back, and we're like, we're not getting drunk or whatever. And then that same person's father was like, yeah, watch out, they got a lot of fake liquor. So it turns out the liquor we were getting from the clubs was fake. I don't know if it's necessarily watered down or it's just not the real thing, but like you wouldn't really get drunk. I feel like at most you might feel a little groggy in the morning, but it wasn't good for you. Like we were drinking lots. Like there was one night, I mind you not, I probably drank at least half a bottle of whiskey by myself. In addition, I probably had like 4 or 5 tequila shots and probably maybe like a quarter of another cognac. And that was maybe my most lit night. And I still felt like I had a good buzz. You know what I'm saying? Like I was feeling good, but based off of what I just said, bruh, I should have been laying in the hospital or something. You know what I mean? Like for somebody of my stature. You know what I mean? So that's one thing to look out for. So I recommend just bringing your own liquor and pre-gaming with that. And then I mean, it's not like it's going to kill you if you have the fake, like a little bit of the fake liquor, but it's not good for you and it's not going to do anything. So at the end of the day, it's a waste of money. Um, yeah. So like that friend's father, he actually said he knew somebody who had died from the fake liquor. Now, I mean, I'm sure that might have been like a one-off case. I mean, I can't say I know for sure, but I wouldn't say I would be concerned about that, but it just goes to show like it definitely was fake liquor. And so like the main fake liquor that you'll see is Hennessy. So like if it looks like the regular Hennessy, it's 99% probably fake. Some people were saying that Hennessy XO, was it XO? Yeah, the XO or whatever the next step up was supposed to be real if you bought in the club, but we had some and I didn't think it really did a difference. So like mostly anything Hennessy or anything dark in that same thing, like the Douce, regular Douce, fake, Johnny Walker. A lot of times that and like the tequila, so like Patron, and the Ciroc. So they basically everything. Long story short, but especially that Hennessy is fake. So if you do go, the one thing that they can't produce as being fake is a champagne. So if you do go out, recommend you get champagne so at least you know it's the real thing. So here I'll go on to my other opinions of things I've seen. And kind of building off of what I mentioned earlier, but in terms of like that entrepreneurship, everyone's fighting to get what they want or for themselves. That translates over to a lot of things. So one thing that's especially common is that there's not a lot of order. And I don't mean it's complete chaos, but it's damn near. um, I'm completely joking, but in all honesty, the way they drive in Nigeria kind of translates into just how their organization is and with a lot of other things. So especially like if you're ever quote unquote waiting in line, a lot of times it's not really a line. It's just a bunch of people fighting to be heard first. So you'll get a lot of people not necessarily cutting in line because there's not really a clear cut line, but just in general, like a lot of the organization is not completely there, or like in theory it sounds good, but in practice it's not. So that's one thing you'll have to kind of get adjusted to if you ever visit Nigeria, is to just kind of be patient and like let people figure it out. Like sometimes you gotta be more aggressive and step up if you really need something done. Unless you have all the time in the world, but you'll never have all the time in the world because they will have you waiting for a long time. So sometimes you need to step up and be aggressive, or people will overtalk you and basically keep getting in your way. But at the same time, please have a lot of patience. Where the Airbnb was, so it was a really nice place, especially for Nigeria. So if you look at my travel vlog, you'll notice that it looks pretty nice, and it definitely was pretty nice compared to what most people have seen or experienced in Nigeria. But literally, like immediately right next to our condo was a brothel, and we didn't know it was a brothel until a couple days later. Somebody went to visit one of their family members, and the family member, when they dropped him back off, was like, it's a brothel right next to you. And they're like, what? And so he told us, and then it's funny because once we were informed that it was a brothel, now we see all the signs and everything. Like before, when we would go out at night, I would see like a line of people in front of the place, but I thought like somebody was throwing a house party or something. Like some days you might see a line of women, some days, well, mostly I saw a line of women out there. So I was like, oh man, it's a house party. Like some of them were looking good. I'm like, okay. But then once we found out it's a brothel, I don't know what the switch was. It would be during the day. You'd see like three youngish, probably in like their 20s or 30s, men just sitting on the curb like outside the gate. I'm guessing they were waiting for their appointment or something. But now that I know, I'm like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. Like you always see somebody getting dropped off right there. So it's funny because a lot of times when we would call an Uber, or what's popular there is the Bolt. A lot of times when you call, a ride, they think you were either going or coming from the brothel. And some people would ask and double check because they didn't want to be affiliated with it at all. So they wouldn't pick you up if you're going or coming from the brothel. And it's funny because like that's what the name of that street was kind of known for, was just, it's a brothel over there. So if you look in the travel vlog, the first one, towards the end where we're lighting the fireworks, you'll see there's a couple random dudes that are trying to help us with the fireworks. And I don't know if I put some of the clips of when I turn the camera, but within the street you'll see like probably like at least 3 to 5 girls just kind of like watching the fireworks. And so all of those people, like I think the men were kind of waiting to be in the brothel, but I think some of the women that were watching were actually like involved in the business, shall I say. I just found that interesting. Like they knew we weren't from around there, and they were interested in seeing what we were doing every time. Like we leave, you see them staring, like checking us out, analyze us and everything. I don't know. It was just funny to me. And no, we did not go. We were thinking about it, but we didn't see enough eye candy to go over there. Also going to link a playlist that I created of all the hit songs that I heard in the club. So my friend had made one playlist and it kind of prepared me. But then once I was there, I was Shazamming when I could tell it was a hot song, just because I noticed, everybody gets up, starts dancing and singing. So I'm like, oh, this is fire. Like, I had my Apple Watch on, I Shazam it and then try to hide it so I can look cool and then go back and take a note of it. So if you're interested in seeing that playlist, hit the link in my description and hopefully you enjoy it. If you're not familiar with Afro beats and Amapiano music, hopefully it can get you acclimated, because I will admit it made you want to dance. So I pretty much set the scene for everything that I noticed while I was in Lagos, Nigeria, and kind of described how everything was. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll also include a link to like my travel vlogs in case you want to see more of the cinematic view of how Lagos, Nigeria is. And then I'm going to make another video because this deserves its own video, is the Lagos, Nigeria airport. I haven't been to a lot of airports in the world, but I can say from seeing it that it's top 2 craziest airport in the world, and it's not 2. That's all I'm gonna say. And hopefully you watch that video if you want a more in-depth description of what that means. So long. Hope you like this video. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and the bell. Comment if you have any questions or if you want to know more information. Deuces.